Okay, so what I like to do, I'm hiking down the trail. Got my back trail camera on. I've been reviewing old videos, and I came across one that was interesting in the fact that it showed the ability of the Sasquatch to recognize and understand what a trail camera was, and then disable it, run it down the tree where they could walk through. And what had happened is I'd found a place where there was a lot of travel activity, and so I had made a camera fence, camera watching the camera, watching the camera, thinking, if they mess with one, another camera will get them. Of course, they were smarter than that, and trail cameras are, at that time especially, were unreliable and in just one direction, so didn't have enough to do 360s. And they knew which direction it was pointing in, but what they did is I had the cameras in steel boxes that I'd made, and then they were camouflaged. They were put about 9 to 10 feet up the tree. I'd take a tree step. Those that are familiar with hunting, it's a screw-in tree step, and get it up, because I can reach about 8 foot, so I'd get it up. I'd put this tree step up there where I could step up another couple feet, and so 9 to 10 feet, get it way above the bears and everything. And then I would use a steel cable with a lock to lock the box to the tree, and then I would use a bungee cord to actually keep it to the tree, but to keep it from being stolen or drug off or something. I used steel cable and the cable tie with a lock. So I come back, and sure, to this area, and this one camera, which is actually covering is the camera that was kind of I had the camera fence, and then I purposely was trying to funnel them to a camera, to the best camera I had, to get the money shot. Of course, they figured that out very quickly, because that's the camera that they disabled. That's the one they ran down the tree. And so, because at this point I was still thinking that they were some sort of bipedal ape or, something like that. I had not yet come to my conclusion. I was coming, very rapidly that they were extremely intelligent, and just like us, but as far as their intelligence, but I couldn't, I didn't, wasn't there yet. And so I was, using some, logic that you'd use on, a large game animal or something like that, trying to outsmart them. And so they ran the camera down to the bottom of the tree, and that's where I found it. Now, what is interesting is you say, oh, okay, well, it was probably just a bear. Saw the camera 10 foot up in the tree, climbed the tree, and then pulled the camera down, chewed on it or whatever. And that would be, though kind of unlikely, it still could be a possibility. So when I got the camera back and did the clips, and I'll show the clips, in sequence. The camera doesn't go off when it gets pushed down the tree. You get a video of everything. Of course, there's nothing there. Something sets the camera off. There's nothing there, but the camera's where and it's up in the proper position. Then the next video you get, the camera's already at the bottom of the tree looking at the sky, and then it goes off several times laying at the bottom of the tree looking at the sky. Now during it, you would say, well, the bear ran it down and stuck its nose in it. Well, the problem is there's nothing in the videos where it's taking pictures of the sky. There's no bear nosing it or licking it or messing with it or You know, it would be, you know, I've had cameras run down the tree before by bears, and you know, it's obvious. You get all kinds of photographs of it, and once they get it on the ground, they'll lick it and chew on it or whatever. But this was an odd one. This was the one that had me scratching my head because there was no you know, there was nothing. You know, the camera wasn't malfunctioning. It was obviously working, and there was they were smart enough to run the, you know, set the camera off, and during the delay, run it down the tree. And you know, some people will say, you know, call BS on that, and that's fine. But you know, others of us have dealt with this, trying to use trail cameras to get them on, to get pictures of them. You know, this is just one of the many common things that happen, and that's, you know, trail cameras are pretty much useless, except for the eye in the camera or the tongue, or the, you know, very difficult to get them on trail camera. And I'm convinced that if you get them on trail camera, it's because they want you to. It's not because they don't know it's there. You're not fooling them. So I thought this was interesting. Like I said, it's early on in my research. So and so, like I said, this was a period where I had found an area of very high activity. There were footprints, multiple footprints going two different directions through this little pass, this draw. And I actually went, I was begging other people in the Sasquatch community that, because I had limited funds, and I bought 5 cameras. And one of them was a really good camera, which I really couldn't afford, but I bought it anyway at the time. And it was a Bushnell. And the rest of them, you know, were cheaper. Unfortunately, were the best I could buy, you know, best I could find. And I couldn't even afford my own to buy the fancy bear boxes. So I made my own out of lock boxes. These steel these lock boxes that people buy, put cash in, for the exact same perfect size, and they already had a lock and everything on the side. So I used a metal cutting blade for my circular saw, and cut my hole out, and you know, made, you know, did a do-it-yourselfers. They worked real good. So anyway, with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll probably break in with some commentary as it's going on, and do a little bit of commentary, and probably show you the different clips, and so you can see them in succession. And oh, I need to reset. I just manually do this. You could set it to do time lapse and break the clips every so many minutes. I just kind of do it. Just reach up there and grab it. It lets me know it's still working and the batteries are working and all that good stuff. Anyway, I'm going to finish my hike up here, and I don't trip and fall. This is a bunch of roots and rocks through here, and it smooths out a little bit. And if you want to finish my hike, and I'll try to get this video up here in the next day or two. I know it's been a while since I posted anything. Not a quick update, just, you know, a lot going on behind the scenes, but the last few weeks I hadn't been able to get out into the woods due to different things and hike or anything. So I tried to go fishing, and as soon as we got out of the truck and we're going down to the bank, lightning bolt hit and a thunderstorm rolled in. So it seems like every attempt I've made has been, you know, it's been short-circuited. So I was able to get away today and for a little bit. So I'm going to enjoy my hike back out of here. I'm on top Turkey Pin Ridge Trail in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, and it's midday and it's hot, but I enjoy it. It's good weather, beautiful. It's probably well, back down at the truck, I'm sure it's going to be in the 90s. Up here, I'd say it's in the 80s. So, there's a woodpecker. So I'm going to sign off and hope you enjoy the video. Okay, so what I want to do here is, in an earlier video, I had talked about the Sasquatch and the way that they could locate technology. And it always blew people's minds that they could do this. And, you know, a lot of people, you know, say, well, they locate it by smell, or they watch you put them up. And, you know, that's really, once you get into the research, you realize that's not what's going on. They have the ability, whether it's through infrasound or some other means, to immediately locate technology and disable it. And so in this video, this is back in 2010, and what's going on here is I'm actually find one of my trail cameras run down the tree. Now, I had my trail cameras camouflaged, and I had them in a steel box, and they were about 9 to 10 feet off the ground. And this one was run down the tree to the bottom because I used cable ties to secure them on the tree, and then I used a bungee cord to, you know, secure them to the tree. And of course, it had just been run down the tree and was sitting at the bottom. And of course, I automatically made the assumption, well, a bear must have, you know, did it. But, you know, I wasn't really thinking logically, because these things were above their line of sight and above their, way above where they could smell. And so, and none of the other trail cameras that I'd put up were affected. And as I said earlier in the introduction, this was kind of the, this camera was the one that was in the place to actually, you know, catch them if they tried to slip through. And when I went back and looked at the video, you would expect to see, you know, a bear's going to, at 10 foot up, most bears are going to have to climb the tree. They're going to have to grab it, put their nose in it, run it down the tree. And you'd think, well, I'd have a trail cam video of that happening. But I didn't. One video shows everything fine. The next video shows it already on the ground looking straight up in the air. So what happened? How did it get to the ground without any recording anything? As the old saying goes, in that movie, A Few Good Men, there's a difference between what I know and what I can prove. Now, there's a lot of things about Sasquatch I can't prove yet, but there's you know, there's stuff that I just know because of what I've experienced and the circumstances. So if I can find the video again, I thought I had it here, but I will see if I can find it. So this is 2010 in August. It's actually on my birthday, August 28, 2010. Me and my son have gone in here, and this is the area where I got the video of the one hiding in the laurel thicket. So they knew the cameras were there. They watched me put them up and change the SD cards. So it was no secret. So I'm doing my thing there. Let's see. It's going to be the other one. So here you go. It's a little loud. Let me turn that down just a smidge. So you can see here. See, it's got a bungee cord and then the cable tie. You know, that's right there's the cable to keep it actually being pulled off the tree. And then the actual fastening to the tree, I used a black bungee cord. Of course, now you'll hear me, and I'm going to blame this on the bears. See it?
Yep.
And probably bear.
Hopefully we'll find that on the video.
You don't see any scratches on the tree though. And that's should have been one of my first clues, but at the time I'm still in the bipedal ape camp, so you know, for whatever reason, some of this stuff's not cluing in yet. Now,
It's in the dark.
I don't mean that. Look here.
See,
Snap the tree.
See where you pull that little sapling over?
You got, but you know where something got in there to do that.
Up there and chewed on it. Of course he couldn't.
I was going to say he chewed on it, but there was no proof of that either. And that's a homemade camera box right there. I don't know if you can tell, but that I made those. I couldn't afford a whole lot, so I literally took bank boxes, cash boxes, cut the hole right here, as you can see, cut a hole in them, and then I would put these. I would bolt these. These are just the handles like you would get to put on a cabinet or something. I had some of these around, so I drilled holes and bolted these on. So you can see that's where I've got the camera tie through. And then of course you can see I got it camouflaged the best I can with old Christmas tree limbs and stuff. And of course, like I said, this was on this tree it was at least, I know it was 10 foot up. Because this was the one that was supposed to, was going to catch them coming down the down the trail, so to speak. And so as you can see, it's got run down, but really there's not any scratches on it. So there's that camera. So what I want to do is I'm going to go to the actual trail cam that got knocked down the tree here, and this is the one. And let's see, make that extra large. So you can see here the camera, and this is, I'll go ahead and, this is back 2010. This is the best I could afford, and it's not good, but so here, basically I've got cameras going all the way up through here and one over here, and Sasquatch have been crossing this little creek. I've been finding either where they pushed off or landed, and this is a narrow area, and so they've been crossing through here, and so I made the camera fence kind of force them to go around, and instead of having to go up and over, I figured, maybe I could catch them. Of course, they were smarter than that, and they would just disable one of these cameras. In this case, they ran this one down, so down the tree, so they could just come right up the middle. So you can see this one. I'll run it. So there's nothing on there. It's up top of the tree like it's supposed to be. So here's the last one before it gets run down. You can see DSC 008, and there's number 9. So this one is already on the ground, and this one is in the tree. Where's the activation of where it got pulled down? Because you could see it was pulled down and pushed all the way down the tree. So you would think, okay, if a bear had to climb up the tree, grab it or with its paws or whatever, you'd get all kinds of muzzle shots and all kinds of stuff. But here's the one right before it got pulled down. And you can see it just got set off, and you can't see anything. I'll zip through this. So got set off and nothing. So let's go to, now it's on the ground and set off, but something moved it a little bit. But where's the bear? No nose in the camera, no, just a little movement. So you go through here, I'll go at nothing. And then it began getting set off by what, I don't know. And of course you can see it's looking up at the trees here, and then it gets turned on its side. But you never turn, you see how it's turned up sideways there? hard time thinking that the bear's going to be stealthy enough to turn it on the side and not get his picture taken. So there's another one over there on the side. And there's another one on the side. Actually, now that one's getting shaken around a little bit. Well, what's that now? Could that be a bear? It could be. He's on the ground now. So it's on the ground where they can smell and sniff it. It definitely could be a bear. That's not how it got on the ground. Do you see how it, when a supposed animal is messing with it, you can see him. I mean, it's obvious. So that was kind of my first clue that there's another one went off and nothing happened. And I think that's all of them, yeah. So this was kind of like the first, and I didn't really clue in on this till later, and it didn't hit me till later, a couple of years later when I started, kind of doing more of a deep dive on what's really going on. But like I said, at this time I was still kind of bipedal 8 maybe, but this was definitely, in my opinion, not a bear running it down the tree. This was a Sasquatch that ran it down the tree, and then the bear found it later. If that was a bear, I don't know. You really couldn't identify what that was, but you can't call it a Sasquatch. But you can't. But this was the first head scratcher to, some odd activity. Of course, they licked the trail camera, and there were a few other captures with this trail camera in this area. But as far as, this was that first, like, something's not right here, something doesn't smell right, something's just not jiving. Okay, so later on in the year, in October, the 23rd, me and my son go back in this same area, and all the trail cameras are run down the tree, or almost all the way down the tree. And one of the cameras has been ripped out of the box. In fact, the camera that was the original camera that I showed you that had been pushed down the tree, it had been pushed down the tree, and the box had been ripped open, and the camera was completely gone. I couldn't find anything. There was no plastic. There was any, bear usually doesn't carry it off. Number one, I doubt that a bear could rip that box open. Now, I could be wrong, but there wasn't any indication of claw marks. It was more like it was pulled open. And the camera was gone. There was no plastic on the ground, no anything. The camera was it was been ripped open and it was missing. And then the other ones had been either pulled down to the ground or halfway down the tree. Now, at this point, I started getting bears messing with them. But what was odd was when I reviewed the camera footage, there was no footage of the bear dragging the camera off the tree. Only after it was on the ground, then there's footage of bears messing with it. So again, what pulled all these cameras down the tree where it got to the level where the bears could smell them and mess with them? And what took that camera, which was supposed to be getting the money shot? Now again, there's a difference between what I know and what I can prove. But I'm thinking that most likely this camera got a money shot. Whatever they were doing, where they were messing with the other cameras, where they're distracted, this camera got one of them, and he knew it got him, and he knew he had to get rid of it. And though they pride themselves and they have their rules set of not doing anything overt enough for you to know that they did it, I think, in this situation, taking the camera was the action that was called for, even if I knew they took it. And so, because who's going to believe me, right? Hey, Sasquatch took my camera. Everybody's going to be like, yeah, right. But this was another clue, and just another, just more evidence that there's more here going on than just the done bipedal 8. That, they knew the cameras were there. They knew what they were for. They knew that it took their picture, and they knew they had to get rid of it. And So here's us finding all this. And of course, you're going to hear me say that bears did it. And that's, and at the time, that's what I thought it was until I actually did a little bit more thorough investigation and kind of place some logic to it. But, we get there and I'm actually going to move these cameras to another location anyway. So I'm in a hurry. So my investigation at this point wasn't very much other than to film it and then actually take them off. But you'll see here, this is interesting.
Here's my first camera. He ate it. He managed to get it open. Yeah. We're going to take that out today when we come back out. But I can't find the camera.
I found that.
Yeah. But I don't know where the camera's at. He's messed with all my cameras. See that camera there?
Around and you might be able to...
See that camera right there? See, he's already messed with that one. We'll go get these and come back.
So I'm going to go back. I want to show you something. If you'll notice, there's the locking mechanism. Some of the camouflage has been pulled off, but there's no scratches. And I noticed that when I went back to get the camera box. There's no scratches. There's no chew marks. This was actually pushed in. In other words, like you grab it with your hands and push your fingers in and pull it apart. This whole thing, this whole upper side was collapsed inward. And I think and there was no, you can see here, the paint's not scratched. There's no chew marks. And that's what I noticed when I got, there's nothing there. And so, like I said, when I did further investigation, you can see where it's pushed in right there. There's the lock. And then the other side of it, it literally, he just, stuck his fingers in there and plied it apart. And then that goes to another thing. How, if this was a bear, the bear would know this was the side where the locking mechanism was and how I got to push in. And this is the side that's got the hinges on it. A bear would chew all the way around it, push and pull. He'd pull over here for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? There's, again, I just wasn't thinking. And a couple of years later when I started, doing the analysis on this stuff, and I started looking at this stuff, and then it just stared right. It was just dawning on me. Look, this doesn't make any sense. A bear doesn't know this is a locking mechanism. A bear doesn't know to push in and pull out on this side. So it was. There was another big piece of the mystery of, hey, these things aren't dumb apes. These things know what this camera box is. They know the working mechanism. They know that they need to open it over here. And so that's the first. I'll show you some others here. Let's see if I can scroll through here. That's the area you could see. So we were going up the top of the hill to set another one up. So, and that's me. That's me that's me at younger. Yeah.
All right.
And we were trying an experiment with women with menstrual cycle and menstrual blood. I know it sounds gross, but there was some indication that they were attracted to that. So anyway, so we set up a camera trap, and there's my old bush. Now that was a pretty good camera right there, and the National Park Service got her. But that was my best camera, the most expensive. That sucker cost me over $200 in 2010. That was a lot of money. And so anyway, here, speed it up so you can see, this camera wasn't pulled all the way down the tree, but it was pulled 3/4 of the way down the tree.
See how he scratched it? See, look here, he's tore.
See, that one was pulled down where the bears could smell it.
Almost all my camouflage out there.
And then this one was actually ripped. It was ripped. I had where I had the handle bolted in. Something ripped that out and threw the camera on the ground. And that's where we're going up here. You can see right here. This guy, see on top, you have a side one and you have two on the side, and it had one on the top for one of these handles on the top for the cable tie. And he
actually pulled the Okay, she pulled that loose. So he couldn't get the camera out.
So he pulled it down the tree there. You can see. So again, odd behavior for a bear. Now once they were on the ground, they got sniffed and chewed. But you can see this other one's been run down the tree. There's another one. See how I had them bolted on top with 4 bolts? That was ripped out of the other one. So kind of crazy and kind of didn't make sense there. And so let's look at the game camera. So this is the different trail cameras. And let's see. This is camera number 1. Something's messing with it in the dark. I figured out those were leaves. Those were not glowing eyes or something. Again, nothing. It's 1 in the morning. 2 leaves right there, 140. Still up there, something's messing with it, of course. 144. Still on the side of the tree. Still on the side of the tree. And there we are. So this one didn't get, this was the one that didn't, this is what was run halfway down. So it's good to go. And that was me and my son going in, so you can, that's me taking it off. But you can see if something, you know, that's me and my son there. Wouldn't be a perfect picture. So let's go look at the other ones. Cam 2. Not. Just love these cameras. It's a stealth cam. It's at 720. The infrared on it's already messing up. And there's the good old-fashioned whiteout, which means something's 11:46 a.m. So that means something's right in front of it. There's at night again, still in the tree. Night again, still in the tree. See how frustrating this is. Night again, still in the tree. It's still in the tree. This is on the 6th. That's me coming in. No, actually, that's a. Oh, those are the bear people. Yeah, there was some survey team, bear survey team went through there. No, they didn't. They jumped up and made fun of my cameras, but they didn't take them down. So, and there's me getting that one down. So that one didn't show anything. Here's camera number 3. All right. Oh, here's the bear team. See the girl. Their bear survey team. They're trying to figure out who put these cameras up because they're kind of way back in there, and they're like, well, we didn't put them in here. So anyway. Now there's the bear messing with it. It's right off the ground. They wasn't able to get her down off the ground. Now it's down about, now it's been pulled down to a few feet off the ground there. See it right off the ground. He's smelling it. He's really going after it now. And now it's on the ground. And he's, see there? See, it was on the ground. Had to be, see, this is daytime. It's not on the ground yet. I think he got it down to the ground right there. And then at night, there he is. So he sniffed it and it's on the ground now. See? And he sniffs it again. Yes, whatever he's doing. There he is, sniffing it again. Tree's just blowing. Sniffing it. Sniffing it again. And he sniffed it again. 1 in the morning. Sniffs it some more. 4 in the morning. Daytime. And that's it. So this was the one that got pulled about halfway down and he was able to get to it. So the last one here, and this is the good one. This is the Bushnell. So there's the bear team right there. There are little patches on there. See, there's the Smoky Mountain patch. So that's when they went through. You can see it's quite, it's up there. It's already run down the tree by this time. So it's on the ground, right? You can tell it's been twisted around. There he is. Bites it. There's a good shot right in sniffing her. He's trying to get into the box. He can't. There's his ear. See it? And he's right in front of it. Rolling around, chewing on it. Still rolling around and chewing on it. Note that this one box was not broken into. He sure did try. Kind of goes to that question, where is the other? Here is me checking it on the 10th. This is the good one. This is the Bushnell. It's set up to take a series of several photos. So you can see there I am. This one's the end of the line. It's set up to try to catch them coming through here. And so then the next is the 23rd. No, the 12th. And on the 12th is when. But they didn't mess with it. You can see from the other, they didn't do anything. Didn't rub anything on it or anything like that. Didn't pull them down. Just looked at it. And then here, you can see it's already down and twisted. So I don't, why didn't it go off? Why don't we see? You can see here. You only see the top of his head. You can see that, and then here, it's twisted to the left. and almost just right off the ground. And then of course the bear's got a hold of it now. But my question is, how did it get to this? How did it get here? What, this is on the 15th. How did it get down the tree and twisted without taking a picture of anything? Once it's on the ground, of course, they do their thing with it, but you don't ever see it get pulled down the tree. And that's my whole thing with all this is, where's the footage of them getting pulled down the tree where the bears could get a hold of them? And that's, hence, is the rub. And like I said, I think they pulled them down to get them within the reach of the bear, so the bear would do the rest of the dirty work, and they were just tired of messing with them, with me coming in there all the time, and they figured it was time to pull these cameras down and get them, get them out of here. And the bears did their work. It's a pretty good sniff there. There he is. And this really is one of my favorites. This is the one. This is one of my favorites. It's pretty cool. Big old boy. But like I say, that it's already on the ground. He's rolling it around trying to get it open. It's not having much luck. Just a quick plug for my Sasquatch Awareness Project blog site. If you've had an encounter or an experience with these beings and need to talk to someone, need to reach out if you're having continuing problems with them, this site's got a lot of good information in it. It's the basics about the Sasquatch and the phenomenon and what's going on with it. And it has a lot of helpful things in it that will help you, information. There's also a way to get a hold of us if you need to reach out with an email or request other assistance if you're having recurring experiences with them. If you're in a rural area and they're coming to your house, any of those situations, this is a good site. And you can see here I've got got the information laid out, from what is a Sasquatch to coping with a Sasquatch encounter, a special caution for women and children, unwanted residential visits, are they dangerous, for those who want to seek them out, and the dangers of that, and what to be aware of, what they look like. Yes, that's where I actually show you pictures of them. And despite what they want to say, there are some pictures that aren't so blurry you can't tell what they are. So scroll back up there. There's share your encounter and contact information, and that's the email that you can reach out to me right there. The Sasquatch and paranormal supernatural abilities that sometimes people encounter. You also have the signs of their presence, what to look for if they're in or around your area, then general safety, outdoor safety tips, and of course resources. David Pilates, his books, Steve Isdahl, and of course my site, and Bobby Short's, the late Bobby Short's website's still a very good place for information. And then the Bigfoot case files, very similar to what Steve's doing. And this lady reads hundreds of encounters, and a very good place as well to get some information. So check out my site, and if you need anything, if you need help, if you've had issues, please reach out to us. Thank you. Bye.